Hello there, my name's Scott. Today I'm going to be doing a review on a selection of drip tips, including the quite well known Trippy tips, which I received from www.mornco.com. Now I did actually purchase the Trippy tips myself. I was on Google looking for some nice drip tips, found those online and ordered 4 of them. But when I received my order, they also included a big selection of their other drip tips that they sell and asked if I could do a review. So the Trippy tips I purchased myself, but the other ones I did receive free of charge. I purchased for conducting a review, but my opinion of the product remains true, honest and accurate as always. Okay, let's go straight ahead then and just show you them in a bit more detail. Okay, so when it comes to reviewing things like drip tips, it is a fairly hard process because at the end of the day, they're just drip tips. There's not a great deal to actually talk about. So I've been having a think and sort of trying to come up with what I believe somebody who was going to purchase a drip tip would actually want to know. And so for that, I'm going to be covering whether I actually like the look of the drip tip, and I'm going to test how well they actually fit inside these 3 examples here. So I've got like a standard mass-produced Vogue 510 cartomizer. I then got the top cap from an iGo L, which is again like a Chinese-made, mass-produced, rebuildable dripping atomizer. And then I've got the top cap from a Doodlebug Genesis atomizer, and this will fall more into the sort of a handmade market. So which I think, across those 3 things, it should give you a good idea as to whether the drip tip is going to fit nicely in whatever sort of cartomizer or atomizer you're going to be using. And then to finish off, I'll just quickly talk about, whether they're nice to use, feel comfortable, whether I'm getting any sort of condensation build up, etc, etc. Okay, so they sell quite a few different ones on the website. I'm going to start off at the lower end of the scale, and that is with the chrome plated drip tip. Okay, so I'll just give you a quick sort of bit of background behind drip tips and their purpose for those people who are unaware. Now, several years ago, we used to get sort of standard sort of atomizers, and they used to come with these like plastic cartridges that fill up with polyester wool soaked in e-liquid, and unfortunately, that's what we used to have to sort of suffer with for those days. However, after a while, people started to take the cartridge off and then get their e-liquid and pour it straight onto the actual heating coil of the atomizer, then put the cartridge back on and vape that way, and that is how direct dripping was born. And then eventually people thought, well, let's just make a standard sort of tube, basically a hollow tube, and we can use that as a mouthpiece and get rid of the cartridge. And then we can just get our e-liquid, drip it straight down the middle of the hole there, straight into the atomizer. It's going to save us time and just make it a lot easier. And that is how drip tips were formed. Now these days though, I would say the vast majority of people use drip tips as a mouthpiece rather than for the actual purpose of direct dripping. And even people who do actually direct drip, they tend to take the dripper off, pour their e-liquid onto the heating coil, and then put the drip tip back on. So it sort of defeats the purpose. But like I said, these are more sort of classed as a mouthpiece these days, I think. Okay, so this is the chrome plated drip tip, and I think this is like the cheapest one they have on the site. It's about sort of $3, something like that. And it's a very nice drip tip. It looks pretty cool, very, very shiny. It gives you that sort of impression as though it's like a highly polished stainless steel. It doesn't quite have that same sort of quality feel though as a stainless steel, has to be said. But nevertheless, it is quite a nice looking drip tip. Fit wise, and it fits very snugly in all of these. It really is a nice sort of solid fit. It's not going to be going anywhere. And then like the standard sort of cartomizer. In the iGo L, again, nice solid fit there. And also in the Doodlebug top cap, again a nice sort of proper solid fit there. A little bit loose actually in the Doodlebug, but it's it's not going to go anywhere. I can shake that about. Nothing's going to be coming out or anything like that. So fit wise, it fits very nice and snugly in all those 3 examples. For actual sort of usage terms, it's a nice one to use. It does feel very nice and comfortable. The old contours there, fits your lips nicely. And not had any sort of problems with condensation. And if you did want to sort of direct drip without actually removing the drip tip, we have got quite a nice wide hole there. So it is possible, but chances are you are going to get a bit of juice sticking to the sides there, and obviously then you do run the risk of it sort of travelling up as you're inhaling and going into your gob, which may not be too nice. Okay, so next up are the wooden drip tips. Looks wise, they're quite nice looking drip tips, not something I'd go out of my way to actually use personally. I can see a lot of other people really going for these ones though. And I think these start around sort of $8, again still sort of fairly sort of well priced really. Fit wise, you know, again, these all fit very nice and snugly inside the three examples here. So inside the like the Bogue 510, again, nice proper solid tight fit. You know, I'm having to put quite a bit of pressure on that to actually sort of get it to come out. And again with the like the iGo, again, nice solid fit. And the Doodlebug as well too, again, nice solid fit. You know, to actually use these, no, they do feel quite nice in the mouth. They have this sort of almost feels like a waxy sort of coating, slightly sort of sticky, which, you know, feels a little bit odd, but you know, it's not uncomfortable to use or not unpleasant to use, let's put it that way. And if you wanted to actually direct drip, again, you know, you haven't got a particularly wide hole there, so the chances are, you know, juice is going to sort of stick to the other side there, so you probably are better off actually just removing it, dripping, and then pushing it back in again afterwards. Okay, so next up are the aluminium drip tips, or for the benefit of my American viewers who pronounce it differently and spell it differently, aluminum. In total, there are 6 different styles available in the aluminium range or aluminum range. So you have the Shorty, the Mini Ping, the Bumpy, the Skyline, the Ridgemont and the Mini Ming. Looks wise, you know, the Shorty, the Mini Ming and the Mini Ping, whatever way that goes round, you know, they're probably my favourite ones out of the bunch. You know, the Bumpy one, Ridgemont, not too keen on those at all, and the Skyline, well, no, that just looks plain weird really. When it comes to fitting it inside of the examples here, they all fit quite nice and snug with the exception of the Ridgemont. And it does fit snug, it fits sort of too snug, and as you can see, when you're trying to push it in, it really does put a lot of stress on the O-rings. It seems to be a little bit larger than the rest of them. But you know, otherwise, you know, they do fit very nice and snugly, not going to be sort of going anywhere. Like I said, just the Ridgemont seems to be a little bit tighter than the other ones. When it comes to actually using them, again, not my sort of cup of tea personally. I really don't like using the metal drip tips. I just feel that they don't feel nice when you're actually using them. But I know obviously I'm in the minority there because they are very popular. But again, just not for me personally though. Next up is the ceramic drip tips, and these start to go up in price a little bit now. These are priced at $10 on the site, and they come in 2 different styles. You have the Mini Ping, which is the shorter one, and the Mini Ming, which is the longer one out of the 2. Now for me personally, I much prefer using things like ceramic drip tips over metal drip tips. I just think they feel a lot nicer in your mouth. And also I tend to find that metal drip tips tend to sort of dull the flavour just sort of, you know, very slightly, whereas if you're using like a plastic drip tip or ceramic, and I don't tend to notice any sort of flavour issues whatsoever. Now fit wise, it's a bit of an odd one this, because the Mini Pings, they fit snugly but not overly tight. Like, they're not going to suddenly fall out, but it's not what I would class as like a tight fit. Whereas the Mini Mings, on the other hand, now they are a very tight fit, and you know, you can see that you're really having to sort of squash the old O-rings in to actually sort of get them to fit. And this black one here, I mean, like it's unusable, and like it just seems like the O-ring is about 10 times too big, and you've got absolutely no chance of being able to fit it into any of my 3 examples here whatsoever. When it comes to actually sort of using them, like I said, you know, they feel very nice and comfortable in between your lips, as it were, and you know, just very nice drip tips to use. And I would much prefer to use ceramic drip tips over metal any day of the week. Okay, so next up are the stainless steel drip tips, and these are priced again sort of $10, so a couple of them are $11, and these are available in either a brushed finish or a polished finish. And personally, I much prefer the like the brushed look. In total, there's 10 different styles. You can get the Bazooka, which is specifically for a 306 atomizer. Obviously, all the other ones I'm reviewing here are for 510s. You then get the Ridgemont, the Mini Ming, the Shorty, the Stylus, the Montclair, the Dynasty, the Whisper, the Contempo and the Florentine. Now when it comes to the looks, you know, some of them I prefer a lot more than others. I'm not overly keen on the ones that have all like a sort of like the ridged sort of finish. But the ones that I do tend to favour would be like the Ming ones, the Contempo and the Stylus. The Stylus, you know, they're quite sort of long and a bit sort of odd looking, but there's definitely got that sort of certain je ne sais quoi, you know, look pretty cool. Now when it comes to fitting in the three examples I've got here, it really is a mixed bag of results because most of them, you know, they're bordering on being sort of too loose and there's hardly anything sort of gripping the actual O-rings at all. You know, so the slightest movement is going to sort of pop straight out. The other ones are very, very tight and you have to really sort of try and force the O-ring to actually sort of slide inside the opening. And the Ridgemont one here, I can't even get even the start of the drip tip anywhere into the actual like the Cartomizer or the iGo or the Doodle Bug top cap. Like the actual metal is just miles too large. So like I say, you know, quite a mixed bag of results. And out of all of them, I would say it's only actually the Contempo that is a nice proper snug fit, like what you would expect from a good fitting drip tip. So you know, nice looking drip tips. They definitely have a nice sort of quality feel about them. But when it comes to actually fitting, you know, I think you're going to be sort of taking a bit of a gamble, to be quite honest. And then finally we're going to come to the items that I actually purchased from the website, and that is the Trippy trips. Now these jump up in price quite considerably, and I think they start at around sort of $30 and go all the way up to around sort of $40, $45, which is very expensive for a drip tip, but you have to bear in mind that these aren't sort of made on a assembly line, like a machining sort of China. These are blown by a professional glass blower, so every single one of them is going to be completely unique and individual. You're never going to find two that are going to be exactly the same. So looks wise, these look fantastic. They come in quite a few different sort of styles, and as far as I can remember, I ordered two of the taper ones, a flat mouth and a peanut. I think that's what the actual names of these are, but they've got other ones on there in the shape of like a donut and a hex, etc, etc. Like I said, looks wise, I think these look really cool. I love the way they look. Just adds you know, just something a little bit different to your device when you got it on the end of it. You're getting a good quality drip tip. If you've got a nice good quality device, it makes sense to have a nice good quality drip tip on the end of it as well. And I really like the different sort of little sort of slight sort of shades of different coloured glass in there, the way it reflects, everything about it I just really do like. My favourite one out of the lot though is definitely the this sort of orange coloured tapered one. You know, it just looks really cool. When it comes to fitting it inside of the three examples, every one of them fits absolutely perfectly, and I think it helps with the fact that you've got these double O-rings, which obviously, you know, going to give you a really nice, good sort of solid fit in pretty much whatever you're going to sort of push them into, really. None of them fit sort of too tight, so you're struggling to push them in. They'll sort of go in nicely with a little bit of force, exactly what you'd expect from a nice sort of fitting drip tip. And to actually use, you know, all these drip tips, now they are really nice and comfortable to use. It takes a little bit of getting used to though, especially this tapered one here. I'm like, it almost sort of feels like you can't get your mouth or your lips around it. It's like they're sort of sliding off, but it does take a bit of getting used to. The flat mouth one nice and comfortable, the peanut one nice and comfortable, and like I said, this one on the end, you know, for looks, for comfort, for everything about it, you know, definitely my favourite one of the bunch. Just a really nice vape. Okay, so that was the drip tips, and more specifically the Trippy tips, which for me are definitely the nicest ones of the bunch. The metal ones, like I said, look really nice, but I did have a few issues with the way they was actually fitting inside, like whatever sort of atomizer or cartomizer I've been using. Some of them just felt way too tight, and the other ones, they're in there. Like, don't get me wrong, they're not going to sort of suddenly fall out if you turn it upside down, but they don't feel what I would class as a nice sort of tight, snug fit. They're probably on par with most other sort of metal drip tips, to be quite honest, but nevertheless, when you compare it to some of the other drip tips, which are a nice, snug fit, that's what I would probably sort of come to expect from a drip tip, basically. The ceramic ones, you know, very nice. I like those ones. They feel a lot nicer in the mouth. I don't particularly like metal ones, or the aluminium or aluminum if you're in America. You know, I don't like the way they feel in your mouth. I'm always worried about they're going to crack my new teeth as well. So for me, the ceramic ones and the glass ones, definitely the nicest ones of the bunch. Not a lot else I can really tell you about them. If you fancy trying them out for yourself, go along to www.mornco.com. Thank you very much for watching. Also come along and visit my website at www.e-cig-reviews.com. That's e-cig-reviews.com. Cheers guys, happy vaping. See you later.